Hello, I'm Harry Murray. I'm the manager of J. Ratcliffe Realtors. I'd like to take a moment to introduce to you the Greg and Lisa Doyle team. They've combined 55 years of experience. They're the most dedicated, hard-working agents I've ever had the pleasure of working with in my 30-year career. Experience that can navigate you through the changing times. Once you see Greg and Lisa Doyle's in person, you will see their customer-oriented service is the best to none. Greg and Lisa have built a powerful team, and together they will do the very best job to get you the results that you desire.
We had our house in Dublin for sale with another realtor, and it wouldn't sell. We took it off the market for a while and decided we really did need to sell it, and we interviewed 3 or 4 different realtors, and based on Lisa's presentation about the marketing plan and just her attitude and her drive, we did decide to go with Lisa and Greg.
With all the answers, they came in with more questions, and questions about how we viewed things, what our drivers were, what our goals were, and then started to provide answers.
Part of our decision was based on their track record. They showed us the numbers and how many homes they had sold per month. How many of those were homes that hadn't sold previously with other realtors, and it was the highest we'd seen.
So I think one of the things to consider about the Doyles is we didn't just use them to sell a house. A lot of people will use a realtor to sell one house. When you go back and you use the same realtor to sell another house for you, it's not just, it's a successful experience in the sell. They stay in contact. They continue to ask what our needs are, whether it's from the buy side or the sell side, and you get a comfort level that they're going to be available to you. But not only did we have a relationship in selling our houses, we actually bought this house that we're in now, and we used Lisa and Greg to do that. And that process was even longer than the sales process. We looked at a large number of houses, and we went through a couple of different contracts, and it needed to be just right. I think what they understood was we were looking for a house that we were going to raise our family in. But we're not the experts. We don't buy and sell houses every day, right?
There were just a couple of houses that I actually was starting to fall in love with, and Lisa pointed out a few things about them. And she could have easily sold any of those houses and made her commission right then and there, but because she wanted to make sure it was right for us, literally talked us out of a couple of houses.
Once we looked around this house and she knew it was the right fit, she actually pointed out a number of things that were insightful that we should consider. She went and got us all the school scores. She went and knew some of the neighbors in the area. She talked to the realtor who was on the sell side of this house about what are all the nuances of the neighborhood, what are all the nuances of the school, what do we have to do to make sure we have our kids in those schools. And so it wasn't just the experience of finding the right house, it was finding the right neighborhood, and it was going to be a good fit, and here's some of the concerns that you might have, so know that you have to do these things.
Another thing is anytime I would just do my own searches on the internet, Greg and or Lisa were always available to show me a house at any time. They were very accommodating to our schedule.
Well, it's funny, Greg actually drove all the way out to a meeting I was having in Livermore to give us the papers. I would certainly use Greg and Lisa again, whether it was the buy side or the sell side. And here's how I always vote, and I vote with my wallet. Because if I'm selling, I'm paying, and I would pay for their services. They've clearly differentiated themselves and make it well worth the money. I know I'm going to get exactly what I want. I know I'm going to get somebody who's going to show the house properly. I know somebody who's going to keep me constantly informed. I know somebody who's looking out for my best interest, because I feel that the Doyles are interested in a relationship with clients, not just customers who they're gonna sell and buy and sell real estate with. They truly look at people as clients, and there's a life cycle in that relationship, and it's not just one buy or one sell. So I vote with my wallet, and I'd use them again.
I would highly recommend Greg and Lisa Doyle because they basically do everything that you would expect them to do and more. And we'll use them again. We had inherited my parents' house. It had been a rental for a few years. Our renters that had been with us for a few years that were fantastic bought a house themselves, and we decided to try to sell it because we did not want to deal with renters anymore. So we listed it with someone. It was on the market for 3 months. Never an offer. Had a lot of interest, and our contract ended with him. So we took it off the market, decided to rent it again, and got the craziest people contacting us to rent it, and I said, nope, not gonna do that again. Got a call from Lisa Doyle, was one of the first realtors to call after we took it off the market. And I liked what she had to say, and she sent me a packet of information, liked what that had to say, and we met with her over at my mom's house, and we just instantly liked her and knew that she could do a good job.
I know you mentioned to me you were trying to sell it with a friend who was in the business before. I mean, how did it feel to you after it didn't sell? I mean, were you frustrated or?
Well, yeah, of course we were frustrated. I think part of the issue was that he didn't have experience. Nobody has experience in this kind of a market. However, Greg and Lisa Doyle have been doing it for, I believe they said 22 years, and our other realtor had only been doing it for 5, and that experience showed when it sold so quickly after we listed it with them.
What was the experience like after your house went off the market? Did you get a lot of phone calls, or did a whole bunch of people knock on your door and say, "Hey, we want to sell your house"?
Oh
or
yeah.
What was
we
that
had a ton of calls. We started as soon as it went off MLS, and we got calls. We got things in the mail, flyers. Who do you trust?
Right.
You just, but Lisa was one of the ones that called, and I liked her voice, and and then when she sent me the packet of stuff and we got it right away, that's what did it.
Would you recommend Greg and Lisa to anybody in your position?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you, I think with their experience, they can sell a house even in this bad economy. They sold ours in 5 days. I think you have to really check out your realtors, but I would absolutely recommend Greg and Lisa Doyle.
I remember, do you remember?
Yes.
Okay, well she was farming, we lived in Greenbrook starting out, and she was farming the area, and she basically came knocking on our door one day to introduce herself and talk to us, and we'd have conversations, and so when we got ready to sell, she was the person that came into our head because we'd been talking to her, and they have such integrity. That was one thing that was really important to me and to Dennis. They keep things simple. I knew they could be trusted, and they made me feel very comfortable.
What I liked about him was that Lisa's the front end person and Greg is the back end person, and he's very good on details. And I'm in sales myself, and I know how important the details are to get the client to be happy. And also what I like what they had put together is they had put together a network of brokers and other people they needed to get the transaction closed. Every one of those people were solid, reliable. They were basically taking the whole burden off of us, and they had just put together a great system. Right. And again, the whole transaction went very smoothly.
I guess the part I just like is when I know they tell me something, I can believe it. And I've never felt that Lisa and Greg ever had anything but our best interests in mind. I know I can trust them. I just feel whatever they tell me, I know is the right answer.
With them, there are no surprises. Under scrutiny in every contract, whether it be real estate or even in business contracts, being scrutinized. So detail is really important. And what I like about them is when they follow up like they're really more of your network of friends. And that makes me more inclined to recommend them to someone else, because then I know that person's going to get treated the same way. It's kind of like what you see is what you get.
Right. No, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend them to anybody. I mean, in fact, we've done a lot of that, because somebody will say, oh, we're thinking about selling our house, and we said, we've got great realtors. Wouldn't hesitate for a second, because I know that they will do a good job. Honest, very straightforward realtors, and we really appreciate that.
We thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to working for you.